All right, guys, we're back in the building. If somebody in the chat could let me know if if our sound is up and running again, or if we're still muted. Let me know either way. I apologize for that little screw up. Okay. What's up to everybody out on the left coast, including my friend Osiris? Thank you, brother. Not much. I'm trying to get this YouTube thing figured out maybe by the time I'm 70, we'll have it figured out. I'll know what the hell I'm doing here. I hope everything's good with you, brother. Frankie's in the house. Thanks, Frank. Got the sound up and running. Okay. All right. So hopefully we're good to go. So, yeah, life goals. I have many of those, my friend. Many of those. How you doing with that bench press, by the way? Where are you at with that? I've been trying to get back on it myself. I actually hit it the other day, and I didn't do as well as I was doing. I had a couple of weeks off from it, and unfortunately, with this stuff, like we always say, right? It always seems like it's one step up, and then 2 and 3 steps back. So you really got to keep on top of it. But I enjoy those bench press days. I really do, and you're the one that really got me back on it. You got me hopped up with it. So I'm going to try and stick with it. Okay. All right. Good. Well, I'll be waiting to hear on that one. Be waiting to hear on it. So, guys, I titled this one tonight just like a weight loss Q&A, and it's probably, when it comes to health and fitness today, right? Weight loss is probably the number one topic on people's minds. When you look at, they use two terms. They use overweight and they use obese, right? So, and how they measure that is with what they call the BMI, the body mass index. So they categorize everybody and they say, well, if your BMI, say, is over, I believe it's 25, you're overweight. You're considered overweight. And then when that BMI gets up to 30, you're considered now obese. So if you combine those two categories, right? When we look at the amount of people, and I'm just talking, say, in the U.S. Worldwide, it's just as bad. Actually, probably not as bad as the U.S. There are a few countries here and there in the South Pacific that are even worse. But generally, we usually top the list when it comes to sickness, horrible food, and the obesity epidemic. But in the U.S., when you look at, like I said, that combination of overweight people and obese people, we're up around 75%, which is it's unthinkable. Really, I can't fathom. So what you're saying is, if you get 100 people in a room, 75 of those people, 75 out of every 100 people that you put in a room are going to be either overweight or obese. And they drill it into our heads and over and over and over. Well, it's because of your genetics. If your parents were overweight, you're going to be overweight. I won't. I'll never. It's a narrative. It's a false narrative. If you look at the progression of the obesity rates throughout the years, I mean, you go back 100 years ago, and it was down, I believe, below 5%. And then progressively over the years, it got worse and worse, and then it really skyrocketed in the 1970s with the onset of all the when they really ramped up things with the ultra processed foods and the junk foods. And with the obesity and everybody being overweight, right, all of these chronic diseases really skyrocketed too. You know, we look at the diabetes rates, uh, you know, heart disease, everything that goes, the kidney disease, the fatty liver. I talk about it all the time. Our kids are walking around, young children are walking around with fatty livers, you know, and nobody's sounding the alarm. It seems it's just status quo, right? Um, and it really is. It really is bad. And you know, I deal with some people, and I've yet to have somebody say to me when I ask them about their diet, they insist, I really don't eat that much. I've never had somebody say to me, you know what? I eat like an animal all day and all night, and that's why I'm 300 pounds. You know, it's always, no, I really don't eat too much. I try and, you know, I drink diet soda. I don't understand this. And I do fat free this and I do fat free that. And, you know, the misinformation that's out there, and these, the beliefs that people have about this, it's drilled into our heads that these packaged foods, because they say gluten free, all natural, low fat, no added sugar, they'll pick it off the thing and say, well, this is automatically a health food. And I can assure you that if it's in a bag or a box, or wrapped in cellophane, it's something that can sit on a supermarket shelf for months or years at a time. That's not food. It's not food, and it's not something we should be putting in our bodies. Um, I talk all the time about how, you really want your diet to consist of as much whole food as you can get your hands on, and you want to make your case. Well, everything is processed to some degree, and uh, there's pesticides, and you're absolutely right, and there's no way around that. That stuff is here to stay. Probably in all of our lifetimes. I don't know what's going to happen 100 years down the road, but right now we have to find the best food that we can find, um, and just and go with that. And hopefully we'll have a much better outcome. And we will, if we get away from the standard American diet, because people, I talk about this something called the bliss point. When they make this food, they spend billions and billions of dollars on research on how to make this food more appealing, more addicting, uh, to keep us eating it, because they want to find that balance of texture, of salt, of sweetness, right? To where we're just going to keep, and I always go back to, there was you talk about Lay's potato chips, and there was a commercial for Lay's potato chips, and they used to say, the tagline was, I bet you can't eat just one. And they were absolutely right. You can't. And that not only goes for the potato chips, but it goes for pretty much everything else, pretty much all the other junk foods. What's up, Mohammed? I mean, is it from what? Are you sick, Mohammed, or I don't understand what that means. Are you? Is it your diet? You got to explain that a little further, my friend. What's up, Freshie? Yeah, Derek, I did see that. You're talking about the photo, and it had Musk and Kennedy, and they were on the plane eating the McDonald's. Yeah, I did see that. I did see that, and I wasn't happy with it. You know what I mean? I thought it was kind of in bad taste, especially with everything that they're touting and what they want to do. But Trump is he's notoriously known for his fast food. He supposedly loves that McDonald's. But Yeah, that said, I don't I really didn't care for that photo. I didn't think it was funny. But um, I like some of the things that Kennedy's saying. I think he speaks a lot of truth when it comes to this junk food. As far as the additives, the ingredients that they use, they're much different over in Europe because a lot of the ingredients are banned in Europe. And there's no question that these foods are really poison to the human body in excess, right? And that's what a lot of us base our diets on, and especially when you're aiming a lot of it towards the kids. These breakfast cereals, the fruit juices loaded with high fructose corn syrup and coloring and all this other stuff. So it really is. I'm hoping that changes come around. I'm not really holding out much hope. If things fall through and it doesn't happen, I wouldn't be shocked at all because there's just too much money at stake with the food companies and the pharmaceutical companies. You're talking trillions of dollars between them. Trillions with a T. That's a lot of money, and they're going to go hard at this guy. They're going to go real hard. They're going to do everything they can to discredit him, Kennedy. Um, so that's an uphill battle. But yeah, I know what you're saying about the McDonald's thing. I get it. There you go, fresh little steak, rice, and veggies. You'll never go wrong with that. Never go wrong with that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I do that too, fresh. Supposedly that's a good way to clean them up a little bit is with that baking soda. What's up, Gusto? How are you, my brother? Derek, if you're still there, I saw my man Gusto on that bench. Gusto's hitting it. Yeah, I agree, Gus. It was. It really was. I guess it was. I don't know if it was an attempt at humor, but I don't think this is at this point. This isn't something we should be laughing about, especially with all the promises he's making. You know what I mean? And talking about and one of the things he even highlighted was the McDonald's French fries. You know, I mean, I forget how many ingredients they say that are in them now. They did genetically modified potatoes. They're soaked in canola oil or soybean oil. God only knows how many flavor enhance. I don't even know what's in them. It's just, but it's a laundry list of ingredients. And with all his talking and all, everything he said he's going to do and he's going to change and how, with all the poison food, and here he is with a Big Mac and French fries and a Coke in front of him. So yeah, I didn't like it. I agree. I agree. The benches. uh, that's good though, guys. We mix it up. We mix it up, right? There's no one way. There's no one way to do it. We got to mix it up a little bit. The body weight stuff, the weight work. Yeah, I get it, Derek. It is. It definitely is. But at the end of the day, a politician is a politician. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. They're all hypocrites. At the end of the day, every one of them is a hypocrite. And you got to pick somebody who you think is gonna benefit, or is gonna, in your mind, who you think is gonna benefit you at the end of the day. And you live with your choice. McDon, just because he chooses to eat that way does not mean anything. Who are we talking about? I don't know who we're talking about. DD, we're talking about weight loss. At some point, we will talk about weight loss. Who's going to lie to me least? Exactly, exactly. Yeah, Don, personally, I don't give a shit what Trump eats. I don't care. I worry about how he's gonna govern and how it's gonna benefit me. But the discussion, maybe you were a little late for the discussion we were talking about. There was a picture of Kennedy and Musk and Trump on the airplane eating a bunch of McDonald's. And Kennedy, who I like a lot of his ideas, I like a lot of what he says. Um, but I thought that that picture was kind of in bad taste to be sitting there with a Big Mac and a Coke and fries after he was talking about everything he's promised and he's going to do. So what Trump eats, I don't care. I really don't care. Um, all right, guys. So let's get back to the subject at hand, the weight loss, right? So now, lately, in the past couple of years, we've heard about um, all of these weight loss drugs, right? And back in like 2022, people spent over about $5 billion on these weight drugs. And in the course of a year, it jumped to almost 12 billion. So it more than doubled in the course of a year. Of people getting on these weight loss drugs, these diabetes drugs, to try and lose weight, right? And it's a combination. We always talk about how people want the instant gratification. They want the results yesterday. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to change what they're doing. They say they want to change, but they really don't want to change. So the answer is, well, I'll just stick this needle in my ass every week, every month. I don't even know how often they do it, right? So rather than take the time and educate yourself, learn how to eat, improve your health, and learn how to improve your health, because these people that do this, the last thing on their mind is getting themselves optimizing their health. All they're worried about is a number on a scale. And if they stick that needle in their ass and then they see that scale go down by 5 pounds, they'll tell you how great they're doing and how this is a wonder drug. And, I can't believe how good this is. And then they're going to go out and get their pizza and they're going to go to McDonald's and they get the Big Mac and a Coke and a French fries. And then they're going to stick the needle in their ass again. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, of course. I mean, and Trump is like the ultimate troller, without a doubt. But to see a picture of him, I've seen that many, many times. Him on Air Force One, that in his first go around, and like I said, it's well known that he eats that stuff all the time. But I just thought, in light of everything that Kennedy was talking about, and he says he's going to be doing, uh, whatever. Everybody has their own opinion. At the end of the day, if he does a tenth of what he says he's going to do, with you know the food and drug companies and the FD cleaning up the FDA, because they're all bought and paid for, right? So if he does a tenth of what he said, we're going to realize a lot of benefits from it. But I'm sitting here talking about weight loss and trying to give people some direction, maybe some advice, or just a couple of ideas, right? So if I was sitting here with eating French fries, you know, or gnawing on a couple of donuts, you'd be like, what gives, right? Mimi, how are you? I'm doing fine so far tonight, but it's early. Yeah, not so much, Mick. Not so much. But again, you know, if we turn this into a politician, it's really going to get crazy. But again, like if everything that Kennedy's promised or said that he's going to try and do or look to do, if he just does that much of it in the course of 4 years or two, however long it takes him, it's going to be a huge improvement because we're in trouble. We are in big trouble from a health standpoint in this country. We really are. I mean, and I'm here talking about, or at some point I'll get to the subject of weight loss. And people just don't know how to eat. People that I deal with, they don't know how to eat. They don't know what to eat. And again, in people's minds, they don't believe that they're addicted to this food, and it's not even food, but I'll call it food. It is a physical and mental addiction to this food. People have an affinity for this food. If you talk about it and tell them it's unhealthy, you shouldn't be. If you attack Pop Tarts, you might as well attack somebody's kids, right? Or somebody's beer or somebody's. Insert the name of any unhealthy food, any processed food, and you tell them it's shit, and they'll come up with 20 reasons why it's not shit and why. Well, you have to have balance, and there's no reason why I can't have it once in a while or just a little taste treat. People don't eat it like that. You don't eat it like that. You show me somebody who opens up a quart of Haagen-Dazs or a half gallon of Haagen-Dazs and is going to take 3 tablespoons full and then put it back in the freezer. It doesn't happen. You tell me somebody that's going to open up a sleeve of Oreos and take 2 cookies and put them back and go on with your day. It's not going to happen. It won't happen with me. I'll eat the whole sleeve. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Because it's addicting. And to break an addiction is hard. To break an addiction is hard. It takes effort. It takes change. We don't like that. We don't like to be uncomfortable and we don't like to change. Yeah, Mimi, I can't tell you how much I hate this in the wintertime, getting dark early. We lose all this daylight. I was outside earlier and it was, I think, 10:30 in the morning. It felt like it was the middle of the afternoon already. It's just, it's crazy. Love more. I did not work out today, and I'm hoping. I actually ate an early dinner, so I'm hoping to get a workout in tonight. I took yesterday off. I was feeling a little sore from the previous few days, so I decided to take yesterday off. So I really, I'm chomping at the bit to get something in tonight. So hopefully I will. Mick, it's not. It takes effort. Like I said, it takes change. And one of the biggest things you always hear is, well, eating healthy is so expensive. Bullshit. You look at the amount of money people spend at gas stations in the morning, and I can attest to that because occasionally I'll stop in to the gas station on my way to the gym and I'll get a cup of coffee. And 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, people are coming out of there with they're vaping, they're smoking, they're getting these breakfast sandwiches, they're getting donuts, they're getting cookies, coffees with cream and sugar and God knows what poured in them. 6 o'clock in the morning. And you walk out of there with that shit. It's a 5, 10, $15 every morning. But if you prepared food, went and shopped for good food and bought it in bulk and prepared it at home, right, and brown bagged it, I mean, think of how much money you could save. And those same people that are there in that gas station in the morning dropping let's say a $10 bill, they're going to be the same people that are going to be at McDonald's by noon. So the amount of money that people spend buying this shit, eating in convenience stores, gas stations, diners. I live in New Jersey, the land of the 24-hour diner. I lived in diners my whole life, and it's amazing that the money that people spend eating out. You know, go to a cheesecake factory or a Houlihan's or whatever you have, Applebee's, any Friday and Saturday night, lines out the door. People standing outside on the pavement waiting to get in to eat this shit. All right, I'll lay off the Haagen-Dazs. But Gusto, I know you. I'm gonna say if I had to bet, I'm gonna say my friend Gusto was the one guy that's gonna take 2 or 3 spoonfuls of the Haagen-Dazs and put it back. Fresh, I know. That's a good quote. I never heard that. I never heard that one. That's good though. Come on, Dad. Hey, listen. We got to be tolerant of each other, brother. I love you. I'm not gonna listen. It's the way it is. Yeah, Don. That's what it is. You got to make that commitment to change, and most people will initially. A lot of people come out of the gates, full of piss and vinegar. I'm ready to go. I'm going to do this. Um, and then once it gets hard, once something happens where you get a little derailed, something comes up. Well, I can't do it today, so I'll do it. Well, I can't do it tomorrow either. So a day turns into a week turns into a month turns into a year, and you're right back where you started. It's really hard to do it consistently. The unfortunate fact is that most people don't have it in them. They really don't. Um, because even if they come out of the gate with that piss and vinegar and ready to go, I'm ready to make the change. Like I said, once you realize, "Well, I can't eat this anymore, I shouldn't be eating this anymore, I have to cut this out." I'm working out consistently. My body's sore. I'm sweating. It's uncomfortable. I can't be home on the couch eating my ice cream or eating my potato chips where it's real comfortable. And you get out of your comfort zone. People throw in the towel like pretty quick. Unfortunately. Agreed, Fresh. You're right. Once you start doing it, but the problem is that I talk about this too. When you break those habits or you break that addiction, you never really truly break it. It's just like an alcoholic or a drug addict. How many alcoholics? I'm sober 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and all it takes is that one night out to fall off the wagon, and you're done. The same thing with a drug addict, and the same thing with a food addict. You might be cruising for 6 months or a year, and hey, and then like I said, it takes that one party. Then, especially now, this is a dangerous time of year because and everybody resigns themselves to the fact that they're going to be gaining some weight now with the holidays coming. Oh well, it's the holidays, and they think it's a win. If you get through from from Halloween until after January 1st, and you only gain 5, 6, 7 pounds, well, yeah, I didn't do too bad. It was pretty good. You're gaining 5 to 10 pounds in the course of 8 weeks. That's not good. That's not good at all. Um, so you don't forget it because it's always, any addiction, any bad habit is always looking to work its way back into your life. So you really have to it and that's why I said, a lot of people, well, I just want to lose 20 pounds. I just need to lose 20 pounds and I'll be good. 15 pounds and I'm good. Once if I can get down to 180 or 175, then I'm good. Bullshit. You don't know that. You don't know that. And what about your health? You know what I mean? Just because a scale has a certain number on it, you have to look at it from it's got to be a lifestyle. It's got to be a lifestyle because if you make it your lifestyle and you concentrate on your health, your weight, and you're putting the right stuff in your body, your weight is your body's automatically going to find its set point. It's going to settle at a good weight because the chances of you sitting down tonight and eating your steak and rice and vegetables, that are you going to eat that until you have to unbuckle your pants or you're so uncomfortable that you got to go lay down? Probably not. But if you go out and get a large pizza with a bunch of shit on it and a bunch of buffalo wings and God only knows what, then you have dessert, you're just going to keep eating until you can't eat anymore. This stuff is made, this junk food is made for that. Like I said earlier, billions and billions of dollars. They call it the bliss point. They don't they don't grow vegetables with the idea of let's make these so they won't stop eating them, so they'll get addicted to them. But they make cookies that way. They make the ice cream that way. They make the donuts that way. Everything that they make in the supermarket that's packaged and ultra processed, it's made specifically in a way that's going to keep you eating it over and over and over again. Boost about, yeah, and that's what he's. That's like I said, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, I go and get my coffee, and I see these people, and that's what they're coming out in the morning. Just a handful of junk food. Uh, like I said, God only knows what they're putting in their coffee. These flavored creamers and sugars, and then of course they say, no, 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 I'm healthy, so I'm going to use Splenda. So you're putting these chemicals in your coffee. It's just it's a concoction of shit, you know. Yeah, the seed oils too. That's a whole nother subject. It was funny because the other day I saw a thread, a post on Facebook, and somebody said something like, "Well, what's the problem with seed oils? I don't see what the problem with seed." So of course, all the internet geniuses get on there and say, "Well, there's nothing wrong with seed oils. It's all bullshit." And I don't even want to repeat some of this stuff, but the ignorance was abound as usual in these threads on social media. Um, so yeah, seed oils, I think, in my opinion, are definitely. Um, Thanks, Mick. I appreciate you being here. Rabid, you might want to check on that. I think you're wrong on that, but I'm not here to argue with anybody. But I believe that that's a misstatement right there. Yeah, actually, stevia. Yeah, fresh. You're right. It is stevia that's derived from a plant. There's nothing natural about Splenda. There's nothing natural about Ace K, aspartame, any of those things. They're poisons. All right, Rabbit. We're not going to gig you. You're still welcome here. We appreciate you. Stick around long enough, you're going to see all the mistakes that I make. I promise. So I'll let you stay because of your mistake if you stay, even when I start making my mistakes. How's that for a deal? So, guys, when it comes to weight loss, well, well, that's a good one, Frank, because thanks, Rabbit. Frank, that's a good one because, like I said, this is a very, very dangerous time. Very dangerous time. Um, moderation is the word. Moderation is the word. Uh, but for most people, that's all it is a word. We don't practice moderation. We might intend to. I know back in the day, I always said I was going to be moderate, and I was far from it. Um, if you train hard, you can indulge a bit with a capital BIT. All right. Okay. I'm going to think that one over, Gus. I'm going to think about that one a little bit. But anyway, what was Frankie's question again? Yeah. Well, it always kicks off with Halloween with all the candy, right? And then before you know it, you wake up. Now it's Thanksgiving. If you work, you know, you have holiday parties. I know when I was still working, uh, each department had their own party. So like from literally from the day after Thanksgiving right up until, you know, the week of Christmas, there was one or two parties a week, you know, and I had to make sure I got to every one of them, you know. And there was no practice in moderation. But in hindsight, if you're really serious about it, uh, my strategy is now cut down on the amount of parties that you go to. If you go to a party, eat before you get there. Um, you know, so you don't walk in there ravenous. Because I would purpose. I know when I was going to a holiday party, I wouldn't eat all day because I was paying. You know, we usually paid for them, and I'm like, I'm getting my money's worth. I'm going to eat and drink everything I can. You know, so you know, again, like Gus said, it's moderation, and you have to have that mindset. And if you have that goal, you know, I just don't see if you're somebody who's 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds overweight and you still are going to go to these things and still, you know, not try and rein yourself in a little bit, it's going to be hard because like I talked earlier, you know, somebody who's an addict, and in this case we're talking about a food addict, you put yourself in the middle of a buffet, right? You willingly walk into this room where there's just endless, just like an endless line of food. Well, you know, if you have a goal in mind that you want to optimize your health and you want to lose this weight and you want to get healthy, well, then my answer would be say no to the party. There's going to be parties. I promise you, every single year there's going to be a party to go to. You know, the holiday parties aren't going to stop just because you don't go to one or two. So when you change your lifestyle and you are able to practice that moderation and you are healthy and you could rein yourself in and you could be with that food or the booze and practice the moderation and keep it within reason, then go to your party. But if you're somebody who's sick, if you're diabetic, if you have blood sugar issues, if you have liver issues or anything, heart issues, what are you doing at these things? I just wouldn't put myself in that position, you know. Learn to say no. Learn to say no. You know, Thanksgiving, it's just an excuse for more gluttony. Well, it's Thanksgiving, so we have to eat. You eat the other 364 days of the year like it's Thanksgiving. You eat what you want, when you want, as much as you want. And what's the difference on Thanksgiving? Maybe you don't have to go to work and there's a couple of football games on. Yeah, I know, small portions on a buffet, but listen, I've been to Golden Corral, and I know that that's impossible. That's impossible, especially with that chocolate fountain that they have, which is madness. What's up, Adam? How you doing, brother? So, guys, when it you know if you're seriously looking to lose some weight. Um, oh, I have it written down right here, Adam, but I didn't get to it today. But I still have it written right in front of me to check him out, that Paul check. I will though, I promise. I talk about doing well. Little technical difficulties earlier in the live, but now we're up and running. Talking a little politics, talking a little weight loss, whatever floats your boat. Appreciate you being here, though, brother. So, guys, when it comes to the weight loss, you have to educate yourself. It's just, you can't just tell yourself, I want to lose 10 pounds, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and I'm going to just eat less of what I'm eating. So you have to learn about the food. You have to learn how much you should be eating, what you should be eating, and it's a process. And you're going to have to put the time and effort into it. But if you do, you're going to be living a much healthier life if you do it. Right? They say knowledge is power. It is, as long as you use the knowledge that you gain. Right? So what I suggest to a lot of people is to track your food. And I don't say to them, you should do it now for the rest of your life. And weigh every morsel of food that goes into your mouth and track it in MyFitnessPal. Nobody should have to live like that, and you don't have to. But initially, if that's what it takes for you to learn how to eat and what to eat, because it's really eye-opening when you look at um, the macronutrient content of the food, the calorie content of the food that you're putting in your mouth. Um, it really is eye-opening. And once you get a good base knowledge on it, I mean, then you can go on and eat intuitively, after that, and you can maintain. And again, if the bulk of the processed food isn't going away, you're going to have your cookies once in a while. You're going to have your donuts once in a while. I have my pizza once in a while. But if the bulk of the time you're eating whole foods, um, and then you have those occasions where you go out to the holiday party, to the birthday party, to the Super Bowl party, um, and those days are the off days. You know what I mean? That's not the norm for you. But for most of us, it's the norm every single day. And maybe when we go to the Super Bowl party or the holiday party, we're still going to do the same thing that we do every other day, every other weekend, during the week, but we're just going to ramp it up a little bit. It's just going to be worse. So I think that day to day, when you're starting your health journey, when you're looking to optimize your health and lose weight, you should use some tool in order to track what you're eating, right? And there's no shortage of them. You have MyFitnessPal is probably the most popular one, which I don't really like. It's not my preferred tool to use, but it is one that you can use. There's another one called Chronometer, Chronometer, Chronometer. That one seems like it's pretty good. And then there's another one called Nutritionix. So it's the word nutrition with IX at the end, Nutritionix. And that's a website, and they also have an app that you could use. So obviously, if we're looking to lose weight, you have to be eating at a calorie deficit, right? You're going to be taking in fewer calories than your body needs day to day. Doesn't have to be a massive deficit, but as long as it's at a deficit and you're eating your macronutrients. And when we talk macronutrients, there's three main macronutrients, and that's going to be the fats, the carbs, and the protein. And when it comes to weight loss, protein is always, always, always going to be king. So you want the bulk of your calories when you're looking to lose weight to come from protein, from complete protein sources. And generally speaking, the complete protein sources are going to be the animal proteins, right? Your meat, your fish, eggs, and things like that. If you're a vegan, what are you looking at? Soy, uh, tofu, tempeh, and things like that. If that floats your boat. But you want to have I generally use the number 1,800 between 1,800 and 2,000 calories for a guy to start off losing weight, and you want 50% of those calories to be coming from protein, right? So let's say we do, for the sake of argument, we're going to do 2,000 calories. So we want 1,000 calories to come from a complete protein sources, uh, and that's going to be, upwards of about 200 grams, you know, at least 200 grams of protein a day. And then if your fats and your carbs could be 30 carbs, 20 fat, 30 fat, 20 carbs, however you want to play with that number. And then you'll do that for a couple or a few weeks, and you have to be patient, and you have to track meticulously, and you weigh yourself, say, every week. And then that's when you adjust. If you're losing that pound and a half to 2 pounds a week, you're golden. You do that for as long as you can. Just wash, rinse, repeat, and just keep going with it. If you're not, if your weight's staying the same, it's any guy that's eating a whole food diet, um, at those macro ratios at about 2,000 calories, most guys are not going to gain weight on that. It's possible, but probably not. But if your weight is creeping up even a little bit or just staying the same, well, then we're going to look to drop the calories a little bit. We'll drop the calories down a couple hundred calories. And again, you have to be patient and keep going. But you're going to find your stride. At some point, you're going to see it. It works. It works. I've done it. But it takes patience and it takes time to do it. And you'll figure it out. And once that weight starts coming off, but it's not going to go down. It's not going to just drop straight down. You're going to have those weeks. But over the course of time, it's like the stock market, right? If you look at the stock market over the past, 50 years, there's a lot of peaks and valleys. But over the course of time, you can draw a line that's going to go straight up. And conversely, if you do this with your weight loss, it's going to go straight down. It's going to be a bumpy road. You might have a few weeks, like I said, where you stall. But that's where, you have to adjust things. The other thing too is when we talk about losing weight, we want to lose body fat. Nobody wants to lose lean body mass, which is muscle. We don't want to lose that. We want to lose body fat. So if we're going to drop our calories, if we're at a good calorie deficit and we have our macros dialed in and we're losing the weight, hopefully mostly body fat, because when we lose weight, we're always going to be losing some ratio of body fat to lean mass. And our goal is to minimize that loss of lean mass, not to be catabolic, not to break down muscle. And we do that by making sure that our calories consist of mostly protein. We're getting sufficient protein in our body, and we're doing some type of resistance training. And it doesn't mean you have to go join a CrossFit gym and do Olympic lifts and this and that. It could be some body weight training. It could be some dumbbell training or whatever. A semi-regular, as long as you're doing something, some type of resistance training and getting that protein in your body, you should be fine. Gusto with the healthy feast. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Adam, eating organic. Yeah, I mean organic whenever you can, but it's not always possible. And like I said earlier, you want to talk about pesticides and herbicides and things like that. I mean, they're always going to be there. And even when you buy, if you're talking fruits and vegetables, and you buy organic, uh, that doesn't mean that they're completely clean. That they're not good. They're absolutely grown with some type of pesticide. And who regulates that? who's to say, are they using um, what they say they're using? I don't know, but um, yeah, I mean, if I buy my fruits and vegetables, if they're there right in front of me and I see this is organic, I'll usually go for the organic. Um, Fasting is definitely a good tool. I always suggest too. I failed to mention that earlier, but recommend at least a 16/8 eating schedule, and that's not even fasting. 16/8 isn't fasting. That's just eating normal. Nobody needs to be eating more than 8 hours a day. Uh, so when we talk about fasting, if you want to throw in occasionally 24 or 36-hour fast, even better. From a even if you just do it from a health standpoint, even if you're not looking to lose weight and you want to do that every week, every other week, a 36-hour fast. Some people might do a 48, but even a 24 is something good to do. So yeah, the fasting part is definitely a good tool, but at a minimum 16/8. And again, that's not you're not fasting with 16/8. You're just eating normal, you know, because there's nobody, myself included, and nobody watching me, and nobody on earth that can't get enough food into their body to be perfectly healthy within an 8-hour window. Nobody. Yeah, Adam, I've talked about this before too. When you talk about, I was talking to a guy. I might have mentioned this yesterday. I don't remember, but uh, I was talking to a guy who was telling me he's a vegetarian, and he said, "But I eat a lot of protein." I said, "Really? Where are you getting your protein from?" I kid you not. Chicken, bacon, eggs. And I said, "Well, that's a pretty loose interpretation of a vegetarian." He said, "Yeah, well, I'm mostly vegetarian." You're not a vegetarian. I don't know what but you know, people want to, they always want to, join a team. They want to be identified as something. I'm a vegan. I'm a carnivore. I only do keto. And honestly, most people don't even know what that means. They don't even know what it means. Uh, and any of these diets, I've never been a vegan. You know what I mean? I've never been any of that stuff. So I can't say, but I can guarantee that most people don't have it in them. I, the keto diet, I believe, from everything I've read on it and everything I've seen about it, that was actually developed more than 100 years ago for people with epilepsy, and it's a therapeutic diet, and there's a lot, you can read a lot on it, how it was very effective, and it went by the wayside, and then it was called dangerous, and you can't do that as soon as the drugs came in, the Dilantin and all the seizure drugs. Once they were developed, now all of a sudden keto was dangerous, but they used it and it worked up until the drugs came out. That said, uh, even now, it's very restrictive. You're eating really a true keto diet, and that's what I'm saying. People don't even know what it is. A true keto diet is upwards of 85% fat, maybe 10 to 15% protein, and trace amount of carbs. People are not going to do that for any length of time. You can go into the store and you'll see uh, keto snacks and keto in a box and a processed bullshit. It has nothing to do with keto, but people think because it says keto on the box, it's like eating air. So I could eat these chocolate keto snacks, but no, see, they're keto. And they're just like, again, even with a vegan, but I'm not going to argue with somebody who says I'm a vegan. If you tell me I'm a vegan and I'm 100% healthy, but if you're a vegan and you're not healthy and you have skin issues and you have, all these other issues going on, and there's vegans that are overweight. So, if you're going to tell me, well, I'm a vegan and I'm healthy, but you're 40 pounds overweight, something's not right there. But if you're 100% healthy and you're a vegan, my answer to you is going to be, that's great. keep being a vegan. And if you're doing what you think is some form of keto and you're 100% healthy, congratulations, keep doing it. But you find me the person I've heard time and time and time again. I was a vegan, yeah, but then I gave it up. Maybe I'll go back to it. Well, why'd you give it up? Well, I kind of missed eating like a cheeseburger. And look at the vegan. Look at the vegan bullshit. All of this fake meat, right? Tofu turkeys, or it's ridiculous. If the meat is so horrible, and then the vegans fashion everything to look like a burger or fake bacon or fake this or fake that, But anyway, my point is, I don't give a shit what people eat as long as you're healthy. And if you're healthy and you do it for the long term, then I congratulate you. But most people don't have it in them because it's too restrictive. And I don't think you have to be that restrictive. I always say, if you're eating the standard American diet like most of us are from the time we're kids, we're extremely unhealthy. If you switch to any diet, I don't care if it's a keto-ish diet or a carnivore diet or a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet where you eat bacon and chicken, I don't care. It's going to be better than eating all the ultra processed shit that we're eating. Your health is bound to get better doing that. But are you going to do that restrictive diet for any length of time? Most people aren't. There's no reason why you can't have, animal proteins, healthy fats, some good carbs. And that's the other thing. When you tell people you can eat carbs, well, right away they're busting open the cookies. No, when we're talking carbs, we're talking, maybe some rice, some beans, vegetables, fruits. But people hear carbs, and right away they're reaching for candy bars. So I think that, again, this is my opinion, and it's worked for me. You could eat a balanced diet, a little bit of everything. You could have your protein. We vilify carbs, but it's not really. Carbohydrates aren't the enemy. It's the processed stuff. It's the simple sugars. It's the stuff with all the additives. That's the dangerous stuff. That's the stuff that's killing us, systematically killing us. Side note, that Tesla was beyond genius. Shout out to Scotland. What's up, my brother? Well, there you go, Adam. That's everything we're talking about, right? You have to be patient, brother. You have to be patient and give it time. It's going to come. It's going to come. But that's human nature today. Even on social media, right? They say you have like a split second to catch somebody's attention. We want everything quick. We don't want to wait. We don't want to wait. No, Adam, I wouldn't. You really, I think you're muddying the waters. I think, just like when people say, well, I want to lose weight and gain muscle at the same time. And this is usually somebody who's never lifted a weight in their life, has no idea how to eat, knows nothing about nutrition, knows nothing about optimizing their health, and they're worried about, that's like me. I don't know anything about cars. I know to put air in my tires and I check my oil. That's like me buying an old car and saying, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this down at the same time. I'm going to buff it out, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put new seats in it, and I'm going to put a new engine in it. Slow down. One thing at a time. Learn how to eat. Get the weight off your body. Get the excess body fat off your body, right? Your testosterone levels, drinking booze is going to lower it. Your stress levels are going to lower it. The processed foods are going to lower it. These forever chemicals we're exposed to, which we're all exposed to, that's going to have an effect on it. Your diet will certainly, your overall diet. As long as you're eating the healthiest food you could get, let's say, whole food, the healthiest food you can get. As long as you're doing that, doing some resistance training, taking some vitamin D, maybe taking a little bit of zinc along the way, you're going to be fine. Your testosterone, if you stop doing the things that are causing your testosterone to maybe get to lower your testosterone, and being at a slight calorie deficit is the least of your problems when it comes to your testosterone levels. There's so many other things that we do day in and day out. And I just did it. I just did a thing yesterday about TRT. Guys swear by it, and I won't go over the whole thing again. Was it last night? I think last night, right? We talked about it. If you want to check that out, but you can absolutely optimize your testosterone levels just by being healthy, just getting yourself healthy. But number one, first and foremost, because the fat cells are estrogenic, absolutely, it's the fat cells are going to have a big effect on your testosterone levels, right? But so is everything else. That processed food, again, dependent on your stress levels, your sleep habits, it's like a cascade of things that cause that. But being at a slight calorie deficit, that would be the least of my worries when it comes to it. And I can tell you for a fact, back in the day when I was still boozing and I was 40 pounds heavier than I am right now, my sleep patterns were horrendous. If I was getting on any given day, if I got more than 4 hours of straight sleep, that was a lot. I was working 2 and 3 jobs. I was completely stressed out, and my testosterone was in a tank. And I'm 61, and the last time I had it checked, it was perfectly fine. I don't do TRT. I've never done TRT. I've never taken any type of drug. I don't have an answer for why my testosterone went up other than just doing what I'm doing. I'm not taking any, I'm open about it. I take some vitamin D every day. Every single day I take vitamin D. I think it's extremely important. If you're not taking vitamin D, you should be taking it every day. I take a little bit of zinc, and I eat whole foods other than that occasional pizza or a couple of cookies once in a while. But don't worry about that calorie deficit. Worry about all the other things, because that's really what's killing you. Yeah, that's another good point, Frank. I've mentioned this many, many times. A lot of times people say, well, when I eat this, I get bloated, or when I eat that, I feel this way. Every time I eat this, well, stop eating it. Cut your losses. Cut your losses. I've told the story several times about, a friend of mine. Every time I eat ice cream, I get the shits, or, this happens or that happens. Well, stop eating the ice cream. Well, now I just buy this one and taking enzymes in order to break down the lactose so you can have the ice cream, but I still get the shits. I still get bloated. But now I buy this other kind of ice cream, and if I just eat half of it, then I'm okay. Stop eating the fucking ice cream. Just stop. Well, when years ago, I always ate ice cream. Did you get the shits? No. Do you get them now? Yeah. Stop eating ice cream. You know what I mean? Cut your losses. Your body changes. Your physiology changes as you age. Everything about us changes all the time. We're constantly changing. And if you get to the point where, well, I always used to eat that and it was good and I never had a problem with it, but now when I eat it, the only answer is don't eat it. Don't eat it. There's always an alternative. Yeah, you know what? I've been working out at the gym lately, brother, and it's just, when I go to the gym, the music is blasting, so I really can't, do what I want to do. maybe I'll get back to doing a couple outside on the porch, you know. But I've done a couple at the gym, and I got gigged for the music being on the background, so I had to delete the videos and stuff. So yeah, Adam, analysis paralysis, right? We just keep. There's a point, and especially today with the internet, it's so easy. It's so easy to just your head spinning because I promise you, I'm in front of the computer right now, and I can go on here and I could come up with name any subject in the world, you know, some exercise modality. I'm going to find a website that's going to tell me this is the best way to do it. And I guarantee if you do this, you're going to build your shoulders to like boulders and it's going to be incredible. And I guarantee you, I could click the next link and it's going to say, don't ever do this exercise because you're going to get shoulder impingement and it's not good for you and blah, 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 blah. So you have to sift through the bullshit. Everybody wants you to think that they reinvented the wheel or they have the best way to do it. The best way to do it is with the fundamentals. Basic exercises, basic compound movements, a few isolation movements, whole foods consistently. Again, the processed food isn't going away. It's always going to be there. But you have to minimize it. You have to minimize it and be consistent and stop buying into the bullshit. Nobody reinvented the wheel. Fundamentals were invented way back when. I don't know when and you don't know when, but somebody invented them. And they still apply today because they're fundamentals and they work. But every asshole on YouTube that's taken steroids and taken TRT will present themselves to you as if a guy sent me a video the other day, and it was so obvious that this guy was roided out of his skull, and his shoulders were here, and his traps were like this, and he's doing side laterals, but he was actually bringing them up all the way. This is the way to build shoulders. Fuck are you talking about? You don't build shoulders with an isolation movement. And this guy, I mean, he looked like a cartoon character. But he's presenting himself like, hey, look at me. I built my shoulders doing side laterals with dumbbells, with light dumbbells. It's absurd. It's absurd. So yeah, there's so much out there. The information is there, Adam. The information is there. But you really have to. You got to put your thinking cap on and really kind of sift. Who's telling me this? Who is this guy that's telling me this? You know, a lot of times you got to go off grid, and that's where you really find the truth. But these so-called influencers and these experts that are all roided out and taking their TRT and taking their steroids and taking all this other shit, and then they're gonna preach to me and you about how to be healthy. You know what I mean? I'm not buying it. Yeah, we're still going, brother. Like I said, just of late, I've been hitting the gym more often than usual, and I go in with good intentions. Like last week, I was doing a show, talking to shoulders. Speaking about the shoulders, I was doing a shoulder routine. I wanted to do that, but the music was just out of control. You know, it's just way too loud. And I can do it. I can do if I go live um, and do the workout, but then I have to delete it right away because then I get all the hits from YouTube. You know, take it down, silence it, or whatever you got to do. So Uh, Adam, honestly, I'm like everybody else. I'm not 100% consistent, but I have this mindset. Like I said, I purposely took off. What was yesterday? Monday? Yeah. So I think the 4 or 5 days prior to that, I had worked out, uh, and my body, like I always say, we have to listen to our body. And yesterday, I told myself I definitely need a day off. The elbows were creaking, a little sore and this and that. But now today, it's was it 6:30 here where I'm at, and I haven't worked out yet, and I'm really chomping a bit. Um, because I get antsy because it's part of what I do now. It's just part of my routine, and I get antsy if I go, more than a couple of days without doing anything. It's just now I've been doing it, and I kind of tell people this too when they're trying to lose weight, because a lot of people sabotage themselves. They'll start out and they lose that first 10, 15, 20 pounds, and right away they start getting the compliments. Hey, what are you doing? You're losing weight. Wow, you look good. You lost weight. And now everybody's like, wow, look at me. And that derails a lot of people, you know. And I tell them, you want to celebrate when you reach those goals, those little milestones, but you still have 60 pounds to go. So you have to wake up every day as if you started out at 250 pounds and we got to get you down to 170, even when you're 175 and you only have 5 pounds to go, you have to wake up every day as if you're still 250 pounds. And that's part of, the mind game I play with myself. I wake up every day and no matter where I'm at, I tell myself, you're still 40 pounds heavier and still out of shape and still a drunken goon, you know what I mean? And go get yourself healthy. So I get up and I do what I have to do. And again, I'm not 100%, but most of the time I do it. The majority of the time I do it. So it is, um, it's building self-discipline. That's a big part of it. That's going to come with it. But so many days that I just don't want to do it. And I'm telling you, walking into the gym or walking outside on my porch and going to work out, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm not in the mood to do this. And those are the days, some of those days I have the best workouts when I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I know that every time I do it and when I'm done, I feel like $1,000,000. And I know that if I go 2 or 3 days without doing it, I really start getting crazed. You know what I mean? And I don't like that feeling. So yeah, it's just a matter of uh, making it a part of your life. You get up every day, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, change your underwear. Hopefully, uh, it's just got to be a part of your routine. It can't be you wake up every day and say, "Gee, am I going to have time to work out today?" Or "Am I going to work out today?" Or "Am I going to get?" It's I'm going to, because that's what I do. That's my life. That's how I live. That's a part of my life. You know. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate those kind words. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of bullshit out there. There's a lot of bullshit out there. Um, but it's worth it, man, because we're talking about your health. So doing the research, and you can't have blind faith in anybody. You know what I mean? Anybody or anything. I certainly don't want people listening to me and saying, "Hey, I watched this guy on YouTube yesterday, and he said I got to eat 50% protein and da 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 da." I only hope that people will listen to what I say and then go fact check me or go try it yourself. Give it a shot and say, "Well, I've never tried this. I've tried," because how many times do you hear people say, "I tried everything and I can't lose weight," and that's a crock of shit. We all know that. But um, I tried everything, which means you tried nothing. You know what I mean? Which means you tried not eating, whatever. Not It's bullshit. But my point is, I don't want anybody I certainly don't say to people, you got to listen to me because what I'm telling you is the best way to do it. I'm saying no, that these are some parameters, that this is a way to do it that I think will work, that worked for me, that have worked for other people. It's worked for other people. So why don't you give it a try? I'm not telling you to go walk a tightrope between 100-story tall buildings. All I'm telling you is to eat some protein, and so nothing I'm telling you is gonna kill you. Anything I'm telling you to do If you're 100 pounds overweight, you got bigger issues than what I'm telling you to do. So my point is, I'm not telling you to do anything that's gonna damage you. That wouldn't be worth a try. But then when you go online and you see these clowns that are obviously all roided out, and the first thing they're going to do is tell you, this is how you exercise to do this. And by the way, I have these supplements that you could buy for $50, $60 a bottle. But I'll give you a break if you go on auto shipment. I'll send them to you every single month. You know, so yeah, you gotta do your research. Your health. There's nothing else more important in life than your health. So you got to put the time in. If nothing else, you say it all the time. You know, people playing fantasy fucking football and sitting and watching baseball games for 3 and 4 hours and living and dying with every pitch, and your whole life is hanging on whether some asshole is going to ground out or hit a home run or whatever. Put the time into your health. That's what's important. If you're healthy and then you want to go sit and watch baseball and you're otherwise perfectly healthy, enjoy yourself, but not at the expense of your health. Put the time in, put the effort in. All right, guys. On that note, I think we're going to cut it. Ran a little longer than I was expecting to, but I do appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Adam, everybody else that was in the chat, even you trolls. I appreciate you trolls too. It all adds up. That link down below, guys. If anybody's interested, you could check out my link tree. I do some one-on-one coaching. We have some old dog merch there, stuff like that. We have channel memberships up and running. If anybody wants to take a look at that, I'd appreciate it. Uh, mm, we're gonna have to explore that one a little more, Adam, with the finances. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. You're talking about buying food. I addressed that earlier, but we'll get into that again if you bring that point up to me. But I'm going to check that guy out too that you mentioned. But again, everybody, if you want to check out that link tree, everything old dog related will be in there. Again, the one-on-one coaching, the merchandise, some dope shirts and things like that. And again, the channel memberships are up and running. If you're interested, you could check that out. Always appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I hope everybody gets their reps in. Stay safe. Most importantly, stay healthy. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Have a good night, guys.